Fundamentals of Chinese 4, Unit 13 at the airport. Checking in at the airport. Understand it. Please turn to pages 286 to 289 in your textbook. Have a pen or pencil ready to take notes. Okay, we have a whole cast of characters in this dialogue. But first it starts off with this setting the scene here. So we have 在国航的服务台. Okay, 在国航的服务台. What does this mean? Pause and write down what you think it means. At the China Airlines service counter. Okay. This bit here starts out between Wang Peng and the service person at the counter, at the ticket counter or the check-in counter. And then Leo chimes in a little bit later. But it starts out, Wang Peng walks up and he says, 小姐,这是我们的机票. Okay. We have a 1 here because that's for the grammar point. And in the grammar point, which we'll go over in another video, we will compare the 3 does. You have this duh, and then there's the other duh, which is written differently and used differently, and then there's a third duh. All of these that you've seen, and in the grammar exercise, our grammar video, we will go over all of these. Just preview for you real quick. We'll come back to this in the grammar video, but you have this duh, and this duh, and this duh. And so this grammar point here will differentiate these 3 and hopefully clear up any confusion that you may have. Alright, so please pause and write down what you think this means. And you certainly came up with something close to, Miss, here are our airline tickets. Literally, this is our tickets. Okay, the lady at the counter responds and says, 请把护照给我看看. 你们有几件行李要托运? Okay, 请把护照给我看看. 你们有几件行李要托运? Okay, so the first new vocabulary, or the only new vocabulary, the first new vocabulary here is 行李. So 行李, you'll notice that this is the same Li as Leo's name. Same character. 行李 is the word for luggage. Remember, a bag or a suitcase is just that, a bag or a suitcase. But when you show up at the airport, all of a sudden your bags collectively become known as luggage. And so 行李 is that word. And you'll see they'll use several different words for those bags. Here it's luggage. And then we have 托运. Okay. And 运 actually means travel, or to transport. I'm sorry, transport. 托运. So these 2 characters together, 托运. 托运 means to check the baggage. Please pause and write down what you think this means. Okay. 请把护照给我看看. Okay. Please give me your passports. And you remember they use this 把. So please, take the passports, or please, it's hard to, please take the passports and give them to me to have a look. And you remember this, the use of 把 is you put it before a noun to call attention to it because you want to do something with it. In this case, it's 给. Okay? Give. So 请把护照给我看看. Please give me your passports. So I can have a look at them. You may have said so I can see them or what have you. 你们有几件行李要托运? How many bags are you going to check? Or how many bags do you have that you want to check? And Wang Peng responds and he says 两件, 件 being the measure word for 行李. Okay. And then he says 这个包不托运. 这个包不托运. Okay. 我们带上飞机. Okay, so 包, I'm pretty sure you've seen this word before. 包 means bag. Like a book bag or a computer bag or something like that. 包. Okay. So please pause and write down what you think this means. All right. 两件, 2 bags. 这个包不托运. I'm not going to check this bag. 我们带上飞机. 带 is bring, 上 is on, bring it on. 带上, bring it on the plane. 我们带上飞机. Alright, then the service person says 麻烦您把, so we see the 把 again. 麻烦您把箱子拿上来. Alright, 箱子 is suitcase. Okay, so 行李 that we just saw is the general word for luggage. And then 箱子 is specifically a suitcase. So your luggage can consist of various kinds of bags, but a suitcase, 箱子 is a certain kind of bag. It's a suitcase. It's big, and you can fit a lot of clothes in it. 箱子. So please pause and write down what you think this sentence means. And as you're thinking about this sentence, remember you watched the video first, or you should have watched the video for this dialogue. So in the video, when the service person says 麻烦您把箱子拿上来, what does Wang Peng do? And that gives you an idea of what 拿上来means here. So please pause and write down what you think this means. Okay, so please put your bag up here. Okay, trouble you to take your suitcase and bring it up here. Okay, so the scale is a little bit higher up. You know, you're at the airport counter and you have to lift your bag up onto the scale. You have to lift it up. That's 拿上来. Lift it up. Bring it up here. 拿上来. Okay, now Leo chimes in and says, 小姐,没超重吧?超重. Okay, 超 means to exceed or great or super or exceed. And 重 you recall means weight, so it just means exceed weight. 超重. And the meaning of 超重 doesn't just mean exceed weight. The implication here is that there's some kind of imposed limit. There's some kind of weight limit. If you're a boxer and you have to be a certain weight in order to box in a certain category, and that weight is 200 pounds, but you weigh 202 pounds, well then you exceed the weight limit by 2 pounds. Exceed the weight limit. So 超重, the implication of this is that you're exceeding some kind of weight limit. Imposed weight limit. So please pause and write down what you think this sentence means. And you no doubt came up with something very close to 小姐, miss. 没超重吧? It's not overweight, is it? Okay, it's not overweight, is it? Alright, here the service person responds and says 没有, 这是你们的护照, 机票, 这是 登机牌，请到5号登机口上飞机。Okay, so 登机牌. So 登 means to rise up or get up onto. So it's a word to board, basically board. 机 is short for 飞机, which is airplane. So basically, 登机 means board the plane. 登机 and 登机牌. A pai is like a sign, like a street sign, I believe it's the same pai here. 牌子. And so 登机牌 is the Chinese word for boarding pass. Next we have this 登机口. 登机口. Ko is the word they use for gate. It means mouth, but they use the word ko for various kinds of gates. Like a gate into a school, the school gate, for example. The gate leading into a park, that's a ko. So 登机口, we have the boarding gate. So please pause and write down what you think this means. And 没有 no. 这是你们的护照机票 Here are your passports and tickets. 这是登机牌 Here are your boarding passes. 请到5号登机口上飞机 Please go to gate 5 to board the plane. And then both Wang Peng and Leo together say 谢谢. This, we don't need to worry about this. Okay, you remember Xiao Hong? If you watched the video, I'm sure you did. Remember Xiao Hong now comes into the scene, and she says, 哥哥，你们去北京啦，就我一个人在这儿. Okay, so you should be able to handle this. Please pause and write down what you think it means. Okay, 哥哥, brother or older brother. 你们去北京了, you all going to Beijing. 就我一个人在这儿. Okay, I will be all alone here. I will be all alone. 就我一个人在这儿. Okay, all alone. See, 一个人在这儿, one person here. Okay, but in English, I will be alone here. I'll be all alone. All kind of emphasizes that you're going to be alone and there'll be no one else. And so jiu forms that function here. You've seen the word jiu from the beginning, from Chinese 1, and slowly you should be developing a pretty good command of how this character is used. 就我一个人在这儿. Wang Peng responds and said, 小红，别哭。我们几个星期就回来 There's Joe again. 你好好的学英文，别乱跑. Okay, so 哭 means to cry. And you can see here, this looks like a person, and these look like the eyes, and then this right here looks like a tear coming out of the eye. 哭 means to cry. Alright, next we have de. Now here's another de. See, there's a 1 by it because we're going to cover that in the grammar point. So they've put all these 3 de's in here, and we're going to differentiate them in the grammar lesson. And we'll take a quick look at this de here as well. But anyhow, 你好好的学英文. You remember that, well here, let's just take a look at the translation of this. Work hard studying English. Okay, so we have, work hard studying English. So this means good. Okay, but if you're doing something in Chinese, you can use 好 to mean, do something well. Okay, 好好的. So Wang Peng is saying study English. Okay, 学英文. Right here, he's saying study English. But he's adding, I want you to 好好 study English. I want you to not just study English, but study it hard, study it good, study it well. 好好的学. Okay? I want you to study English well. And so you have this adverb is what it is, because he's saying don't just study, but study well. So he's using an adverb to modify this verb here, 学, study. And so we use the, and the adjective that's modifying this verb here comes before the 的. So 好好的学英文, study English well. 别乱跑. Okay, this you haven't seen. Okay, actually there's no, basically, 乱跑. Okay, 乱 means random or messy, and 跑 means to run. So randomly run around or mess around. So basically, 乱跑 means to goof off. Okay, so study English well, don't goof off. 别乱跑. So pause and write down what you think this means. The whole sentence. Hey, 小红, little Hong, 别哭, don't cry. 我们几个星期就回来. Alright, we'll return in a few weeks. And probably should add in here, we will return in just a few weeks. It's not that long, just a few weeks. And that's what 就 does. 几个 few weeks. 几个星期就回来. Well, just a few weeks and we'll be back. 你好好的学英文, study English well, 别乱跑, don't goof around, don't goof off. Alright, Xiaohong is still upset and she says, 不是几个星期就回来，是几个星期以后才回来. Okay, so you know that 就 and 才 are kind of opposites, right? 就 is saying like, it's just a few weeks and I'll be home. But 才 is the opposite. So what is she saying here? Pause and write down what you think this means. Alright, hopefully you came up with something close to, it's not you'll be back in just a few weeks. Rather, it's you won't be back for a few weeks. Okay? So Wang Peng is trying to soften it by saying 就, because it's a few weeks. A few weeks is a long time. So Wang Peng is trying to think of how to soften the fact that it's a long time. So he uses 就. And Xiaohong is using 才 to show that, gee, it's a long time and you won't be back until after a few weeks. Alright, Gao Wenzhong chimes in and says, 别担心，我姐姐小英会照顾你. Alright, 照顾, 照顾, you've seen 照, this is the same 照 as like a picture, 照片, picture, same character. But together with this 顾, it means to take care of someone, 照顾. So please pause and write down what you think this means. Okay, 别担心, don't worry. 我姐姐, my big sister, 小英会照顾你, will take care of you. And then Leo chimes in and says, 对,别担心, and we won't even mess with that. You know what that means, right? Don't worry. Alright, so Bai Ying'ai is here too, and she chimes in and says, 飞机几点起飞? Okay, so you haven't seen this 起飞. This is a word. You've seen 起 before, and you've seen 飞 before, but you haven't seen them together in a word, and it means to take off as in an airplane taking off. So we won't mess with this. It's pretty straightforward. When does the plane take off? 飞机几点起飞? Wang Peng says 中午12点. 还有2个多小时. Please pause and write down what you think that means. Uh, 12 noon, there is still 2 hours, so there are still 2 hours. Alright, there's still some time to chat, so Leo asks Bai Ying'ai, 你什么时候去纽约实习? Okay, so 实习, you should remember from some time back. Please pause and write down what you think this means. Okay, so you remember 实习 means internship. So 百应爱，你什么时候 when will you 去纽约实习 go to New York to do the internship? And 百应爱 responds and says 我不去纽约了。文中帮我在加州找了一份实习工作。Okay, so please pause and write down what you think this means. And you should have came up with something close to I am not going to New York. When Zhong found an internship for me in California. You'll remember 加州 is California. Okay, and then 高文中 says 对，我们下个星期开车去加州。Please pause and write down what you think this means. That's right, we will drive to California next week. Alright, Leo then says 是吗？一边开车一边玩，太好了。Pause and write down what you think that means. And we have this 一边 da 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 一边 da 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 construction. You'll recall what that means. Please pause and write down what you think this is. So remember this EPR is used to say that you're doing two things at once. So 是吗? Really? EBR 开车 driving, EBR 玩 and hanging out at the same time. 太好了, that's great. Alright, Wang Peng chimes in. Typical Wang Peng says, 开车小心，祝你们玩得高兴. And here's the this another the third the. And so we'll cover that in the grammar point. 祝你们玩得高兴，高兴，祝你们玩得高兴。小心 is be careful. So 开车小心。So be careful riding a car. Please pause and write down what you think this sentence means. Be careful driving. 开车小心。祝你们玩得高兴. I hope you have a great time. Okay, Baying Ai says, 祝你们一路平安。一路平安。到了北京以后，别忘了给我们发个电子邮件。Okay, so 一路平安 is like a 4-word idiom. Chinese is full of these 4-character idioms that convey, a meaning. It's like it's not a word, but these 4 characters belong together in what's called like a 4-character idiom. 一路平安, and it means have a good trip, or like bon voyage. So please pause and write down what you think this means. I hope you have a great trip. 祝你们一路平安。别忘了到北京以后 don't forget 别忘了到了北京以后别忘了给我们发电子邮件 don't forget to send us an email after you arrive in Beijing. And then finally 好，那我们秋天见。秋天见. So if you remember 秋天, this should be easy. 秋天见. Please pause and write down what you think this means. Okay, see you in the fall, right? 秋天 is the fall, so we will see you in the fall. Everyone's taken their summer break. They'll come back in the fall. And then 高文中 says 下个学期见. So 学期见, 下个学期见. Please pause and write down what you think that means. And that is see you next semester. And then finally 再见. And that concludes this Understand It video.